Hello folks, this is Juggalo V here, and obviously today we're going to be talking about the Justice League. Now, one of the things that I feel so very passionate about is because there's so many people talking so much shit about this movie, how the villain is bland and the story, it just has a story, it's a beginning, middle, and end. Well, guess what? It's more than just that. Now, the one thing that's being praised by folks here and there is the character development. Some say that this character needed more, others say that, if they had tossed in another scene for multiple characters, for Cyborg, for Flash, and Aquaman, because we really know what's going on with Wonder Woman and Batman, just because. Right, except we're gonna get those movies soon, and if you really want to dive deep into the characters, it's it's just a great foundation that's already been laid out. Now, before I dive deep into explaining what's going on between each character and whatnot, I will say this, that the opening credits was completely shit because, again, poor Justice League, this poor film. The only thing that's truly weighing down the Justice League is Batman vs Superman. That's it. That's the only thing that's kind of, fucking it up. That it reminds you of that film and just the amount of poor decisions. And believe me, in Justice League, there's no real poor decision with it as much. It just keeps moving. It just keeps moving. So as far as the script and dialogue, I would say it's done a lot better than some of the Marvel stuff that's been out recently, like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Thor Ragnarok. And what makes Justice League's script and story so much better is that they really let the down, that when it needs to slow down a bit, take a breather, they really do that. They kind of embrace it, and it's not just joke over here, joke over there. It's not left and right, left and right. We're not getting hit constantly with the jokes. If you didn't laugh at this one, you'll laugh at the next fucking 15. No, that's not what Justice League is. And sure, there's even one-liners and some witty banter going around, but it's not as overbearing, and it feels more human. Feels normal. It doesn't feel like a fucking sitcom, which I think Marvel's kind of swaying into that direction, that little pendulum. We have a cute little family message tucked away with all this hilarious comedy sitcom. So yes, they actually did put some color back into this film. Superman's costume is very bright and colorful. You can actually see and read some of the hope, and some of the gear on the Flash is a bit bumped up, and that's one of everyone's at least joyous moments, that they actually brought some color into it. Which for me, I don't mind if the color is there or not, as long as it has some tonal shift. Like, there's a reason why. And this, even if it was a fuck up that is now being corrected, it still looks purposely done, because this time around Superman is actually a Boy Scout. He's the Superman that the OGs love, and that some of the younger generation just kind of, well, maybe not necessarily younger generation, but at least a good number of folks who were not so pleased about Superman killing Zod and just kind of rooting. It's kind of a build up. Just let it build up. But yeah, he's now a Boy Scout, and civilians come first. One of the things that the Justice League did better than Batman vs Superman is two of our heroes are actually colliding against each other based on their principles, their morals. So the debate about whether or not to bring back Superman and what are some of the consequences, Batman and Wonder Woman clashed, and beautiful scene how they just connected, and you feel that tension, that tension. I want to talk a bit about the Flash. He's obviously great. Very very funny, very naive. Although there are a few moments in there where I kind of felt they really dumb him down just a little bit, just, a little bit. Um, but if there were any ways to defend it, the simple answer is he's just naive. He's just a young kid. Cyborg, on the other hand, ooh, that's a whole different story. He's such a brooding character. So there was a line in there that mentioned about him being brooding and whatnot, and I thought that was great because it's like, hey audience, we hear you guys. Don't worry. Cyborg isn't gonna be like a little pansy ass, throughout this whole time. Even though I'd say a good portion, which, fair to say, Cyborg didn't want to be, a fucking machine, especially a machine that's able to read the strange, he called it language in the film, alien language that was, being decrypted in his mind from the Kryptonian technology. So that's how he was resurrected. The villain, even though he looks bland as fuck and it reminds you of Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers and shit. Now, what's really great about this villain is that he doesn't just lay back or he pops up whenever the plot needs him necessarily. He actually goes out there and kicks some ass. I don't know necessarily how to describe it, but this person didn't necessarily rely on supernatural powers. It was more just like, I'm tougher than you, I can kick your ass. I have the strength, I have the dexterity to do it, so let's go. There's a little bit of that mentality going on, and I thought that was great. A little different, of a personality, little, but not that different as far as like evil plans go. Overall, the Justice League is a pretty good film, a pretty good superhero film, especially since what Marvel has been, dumping on us for a while. Especially with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Thor Ragnarok. I just feel sorry for some of these fanboys, and even to the general audience who may not know as much or who depend too much on reviews and shit, that this was a much better film than what they're fucking describing. It really is. And it really pisses me off. And to declare whether or not something is successful based on box office numbers. But everyone within the film community knows that box office numbers don't mean a success. I mean, we always have the Transformers to look up to, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we look at those numbers and say, hey, it's a successful film. And you look back on it, no, it's not really. It really isn't. It's shit. Dialogue, cinematography, even the fucking story. The whole foundation just breaks down because in the end, it's just fucking product placements up the ass. And that's something you don't get here with Justice League. This is a great improvement, and this is something that should be praised for DC for finally getting its act together. We shouldn't scorn somebody for improving all this time, and that's what DC is. DC is trying to improve despite some of its bad decisions going very, very early on, and we all know that. We've addressed that. And so now all we have to do is move forward. It can no longer be about what has been done in the past, but what is going to be done in the future. And I believe DC has a much brighter future than Marvel does.